So that's what I would offer to that. And in terms of me, it's just what's made sense. It's just a part of what's in me. I didn't ask for it. It's just here. I've tried to attack any ignorance around it. That's why I've gone to school as long as I have. That's why I travel, like I said, I did.
Yeah.
And in spite of all of that, in spite of speaking about this on Netflix, I mean, speaking about this and traveling, it's just still here at my core. So it's like, okay, there must be something to this. And one other thing I wanted to add is in terms of this, I have seen in the Discord, so you've seen some of the servers that I'm on, in the transracial Discord, I was surprised to see, now it's small, there's only like roughly maybe 50 people in it, and maybe of that you've got a good 10 to 15 that are the most active, but I have seen at least a handful of those people that actually are transgender and transracial. Most of them recognize that they were transracial after either transitioning or being in the process of transitioning with regard to their gender, which I found very interesting because I knew at age 4, as you read, that this was my reality, but some of the others, it seems like they've discovered the transracial element, like I said, after that, and I think it's interesting. And a couple of them are people that were born BIPOC, born of color, and they're having different identities with Asian, with white. So I don't know. I think that there's just a lot to analyze and to research and learn about.
Yeah. I have a question for you. You mentioned race kind of being tied to not gender necessarily, but like masculinization versus feminization. I guess
Yeah.
I'm curious from what you saw on the transracial server. I wonder if transracial identities also correlate with desiring to be seen as a certain gendered presentation as well. For your example, it sounds like your external positionality would be like black male, which is the most hyper-masculinized version. And your internal identity is white female, which is the most feminized identity, just theoretically. So I guess I'm curious if you think that there is any, I don't want to say overlap, because that feels like the wrong word, but like, do you think that could be a factor in it? Like, this is a question that people always ask me as trans, or as a transgender person, is like, if gender roles didn't exist, would you still be happy the way you were? Like, if the pressure on skin color did not exist, do you think that you would still have a transracial identity, or do you think it would just be a transgender identity? Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's a very good question. I've never been asked that before. At some level, obviously, I wouldn't know because I haven't had that reality. However, I am inclined to think that I would gravitate to the identity that I have just because it's so strong and it's unrelenting, and it's only become more prevalent as time has gone on.
Yeah.
In spite of all the work that I've done to repress, oppress, suppress, and I know you've talked about that in your YouTube vids, and it's like, oh, okay, this is here. So I still think it would exist, but that would be like a parallel universe, parallel experience. It'd be a whole different kind of subtext with that, and I would have had different coping mechanisms. So maybe there is a chance that some of those coping mechanisms would maybe have sufficed in a way to where I could go with that for an extended period and others. But I think that's a really good question. I have to reflect more on that and see what else comes up. I love that question.